Ladies and gentlemen, in a couple of moments, we're going to begin the service. We ask if you have a cell phone or pager, if you could turn it to the silent mode. Officiating is Rabbi Menachem Slavetiki.
We gathered here together to pay tribute to Natela Sepiashvili, Tamar, Bat Eliyahu, Hanoledet Mimiriam. We'll begin with the Perek Tehillim. אשרי האיש אשר לא הלך בעצת רשעים, ובדרך חטאים לא עמד, ובמושב ליצים לא ישב. כי אם בתורת אדוני חפצו, ובתורתו יגע יומם ולילה. והיה כעץ שתול על פלגי מים, אשר פריו ייתן בעיתו, ולהו לא ייבול, וכל אשר יעשה יצליח. לא כן הרשעים, כי אם כמוץ אשר תדפנו רוח, על כן לא יקומו רשעים במשפט, וחטאים בעדת צדיקים. כי יודע אדוני דרך צדיקים, ודרך רשעים תאבד. פסוק אומר, והחי ייתן אל ליבו. People remain alive should take a lesson what we can learn from the deceased. Natela, Tamar, was humble and quiet. Not everyone knew her in detail. But I feel like in this occasion, כולנו הכרנו אותה, כי אם רוצים להכיר אותה, צריך רק להסתכל על השבט שהיא הקימה. This whole front row. איזה שבט נטלה הקימה. אישה אחת, single mom. We know was born in Georgia in 1944, May 6th. As a single child because her brother died at a young age. She got married to Yosef and Zor, who died at a very young age, in 1969. She had 5 children. One child died at 6 months old, Maya. And she raised by herself these 4 children from 25 years old, all by herself. כשאני חושב על זה, אפשר להשתגע מלראות את האישה הזאת, החזקה, see what she raised all by herself with her own hands in very difficult times. She had to leave Georgia, made Aliyah La'aretz in 1973 with her mother and grandmother. It wasn't easy. אבל אישה עם מלא מלא נתינה, giving, אכפתיות, hands of gold, אומנים, כמו שרואים אצל כל הילדים שלהם, את התכונה הזאת. כל דבר הצליחה להסתדר. She never say, I can't. Everything was, it's possible. Everything is moving forward. Hard to believe that this woman never complained. Very quick, always rushed. She was, one of the children we said last night said she was great at time management. She managed so much, everything quick, and she's done. What's next? What's next? Always on top of everything. תמיד רצה קדימה, מנהלת את הכל. You know, we live in a generation today that all the grandchildren teach the grandmothers about social media, how to use a computer. She was better than the children and the grandchildren. היא הייתה אומרת לילדים, מצאתי בגוגל, מצאתי באפ, מצאתי שמה. They couldn't find things and she was ahead of the game. And this is starting again from 25 years old, raising by herself these children, coming to Aliyah La'aretz. Then when Yonah came here to Chicago, eventually the brothers joined and the sister, Ruti and Robert and Gabi. And then she joined the children here. And this is where she built her real legacy. והילדים כיבדו אותה, מה זה כמו מלכה? If we want to learn what is כיבוד אב ואם, גם האב, שכבר לא נמצא איתנו כל כך הרבה שנים, איזה כיבוד אב the children have for the father who passed away so many years ago, and seeing the care from all the children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. היא זכתה ל10 נינים, 10 great-grandchildren. Just 2 months ago, she was present at the bat mitzvah of her oldest great-grandchild. The care that these children did for the mother like a queen. ממש כמו מלכה. She would come to us and join in Sukkot, Yom Kippur, in a quiet way. She didn't talk much. But this past Rosh Hashanah was a very special moment for us. I went over there to blow the shofar, and just going there, כל הילדים, כל הנכדים, איזה אהבה לאמא. You saw the love, every grandchild, wherever they were, they're coming, they're showing, they're present, they're there. הכבוד לאמא. נוהגים להגיד בלוויה שבאים לחלוק כבוד אחרון. איזה כבוד אחרון? האמא הזאת מקבלת כבוד שנים רבות. נטלה איתנו. איזה אחרון? הרבה כבוד. אין שום ספק. Where do you see that grandchildren call the grandmother Ima? Where do you see that great-grandchildren call the great-grandmother Ima Natela? She was raising the children like a mother, always being there for them. אישה אצילית מאוד, very dignified woman. ולא מתלוננת. No complaining, always optimiyut and going forward. We just tear the kriya, we tear the clothing. The message from tearing the clothing is, just like we tear clothing, the body, which is inside the clothing, is still whole and complete. אנחנו יודעים ומאמינים ובטוחים. We know. Although the body is not with us physically, הנשמה שלה חיה וקיימת. It was remarkable, like I said, this last Rosh Hashanah, she was lying down. You weren't sure she's hearing, she doesn't hear. Said, we'll blow the shofar. As we started the shofar, more and more, she just came to alive. Turned out her hand, turned around. And I hear that after that, she said she wants to sit down on the bed. She wanted to eat. And she talked, וראית את הברכות שהיא נתנה לילדים. איזה אהבה לילדים ולנכדים ולנינים. Her love to the children and grandchildren was beyond. She was blessing in. שתזכו למצוות, שתזכו למצוות. That's what she wanted, mitzvot. The children should continue. She told the doctor a few weeks ago when the doctor was there, אני לא יכולה ללכת. I can't go. Look at all these children. I can't leave them. This was her life. She lived for children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. באהבה אינסופית. She loved very much telling stories about her childhood in Georgia, how was life there. She knew that our continuation, ההיסטוריה של עם ישראל, תלוי בשורשים. Everything comes from our roots, where we're coming from. She knew where we're coming from, and this will be what will carry us further. It was very important for her to give it over to the next generation. And this is what we see in the next generation. רואים את זה. We see the children continuing, אמא נטלה, החיים שלה. והחיים שלה ממשיכים, continuing in the life of all of the children, grandchildren, and the families and friends who will do a מעשה טוב, a mitzvah. לזכות נשמתה, obviously we'll say the Kaddish, but mitzvot, when the grandchildren and great-grandchildren continue mitzvot and maasim tovim, in her memory, this continues her life within the children. נפטרה ממש בזמן כזה קדוש, just after Kippur, when we all pure and tohorim, and right before Sukkot. We were talking with the family. She was always worried about that the kids take so much time and effort to take care of her. She felt bad about it. And here we have the Shiva. When the Shiva gets cut off with the Chag of Sukkot, Sukkot is Man Simchatenu. That means Hashem gives us right away a lot of simcha and comfort to this family. אז אין שום ספק שהיא משגיחה מלמעלה ונמצאת חיה וקיימת בתוך הילדים והנכדים. We see the המשכיות, we see the continuation from her life, from her legacy. So now, when we are right before Sukkot, there's no question that the simcha that Hashem will give and the comfort to the family. And as we know, אנחנו מאמינים בביאת המשיח, בקרוב בימינו שגם תחזור עלינו בגוף. We'll hear from the children and grandchildren. So we have Gabi, Yossi Miller, Rebecca, and Maya will share a few words.
Seems like a dream, huh? Anyways. I was debating if to say what I want to say in Hebrew or in English. But since Mom learned English pretty fast. I'm sure she can hear us. So I'm going to try my very best. So on behalf of myself and the whole family members, we thank you for the honor you are giving to our mother today in accompanying us with laying her to rest. Sorry. My mother's life, Natela, is a statement of life full of inspiration, with a strong will to choose life and never give up, even when it was hard. My mom was born, as the rabbi mentioned, May 6, 1944, to her parents, Maro, Miriam, and Ilya Eliyahu Bantsovsky. At a young age, as was customary back then in Georgia, she got married to our father, Natela Sepiashvili. And together, they had 5 children, as the rabbi mentioned, and unfortunately, they have lost our sister Maya, Malka, at a very young age. And then, tragically, another tragedy hit Mom, and she lost her husband at the age of 34. Leaving her with 4 kids, not easy ones, I'm sure. My mother's life changed dramatically at that time. And a few years later, in 1973, she decided to join my grandmother and great-grandmother and immigrated to Israel. She opened a new chapter in her life. From childhood, she had a passion for sewing. So, as was very typical to Mom, she used this talent supporting our kids, supporting the family. She worked day and night. Then she started making dresses to support the family. So her children will not feel the absence of father and a man figure in the house. Mom Natela became a role model and iconic woman, not only in our family, in the whole Georgian community in Israel. Mom gave each of our children something from our special personality. To my dear brother Yona, she gave wisdom and deep understanding of importance of family unity. To my dear Robert, she gave humble, modesty, and academic talents, and always making the right decision, being rational. Excuse me. To my sister Ruti, she passed a creativity, sensitivity, generosity, and being a role model how to be a great mother and a great grandmother. And to me, I guess not much left there. Somehow, she gave good looks, as you can see, and sense of humor. Somehow she managed to fight Over the years, Mom was blessed with 4 beautiful children that she raised, and we light her life with much pride. When Mom and Grandma Miriam moved to the United States, Mom began working at a bridal salon in Chicago. Not because she really needed it. She knew that we will support her and take care of her, but just because she wanted to be independent. That was Mom, making everything by herself. She doesn't want to be a burden on anyone. I want to do it myself. She would ask for milk. Here's the money. No, Mom, no, take the money. Make sure she doesn't want anybody to spend for anything. She became a central figure in our success when we decided that, she doesn't need to work for anyone. Mom, we need you in our business. Of course, we want Mom next to us. It didn't take too long. She took over. She took over the control. She managed. Suddenly, she speaks English. She does inventory, all the customers. And till today, we have customers that are walking in and they don't need to buy anything. They just says, how's Mom doing? That's a big thing for us. When time came and my grandma Miriam got sick, Mom took under her responsibility taking care of Grandma for 5 straight years without leaving the house. And Grandma Miriam used to bless her, and she say, God sees what you do for me, my daughter, and He will pay you when your time comes. So, Mom, I hope I didn't disappoint you. We did everything that would make sure that she's always been in comfort and not in pain and not worry about anyone. Mom, she fought her illness like a lion. She fought so strong, like a lion that won't leave her little cubs behind, so no one, God forbid, hurt them in any way or form. During one of the hospital stays at Northwestern, when the doctor was kind of discussing her treatment plan, and a little bit skeptical, about how it's going to continue, Mom looked at one of the doctors and she said, Doctor, I'm not going nowhere. I stay here. Which means she didn't want to leave, not the hospital. She meant she doesn't want to leave the world. And that's the strength that Mom had. And that's what we had to all remember from her. The doctors at some point decided that she needed to go to rehab. And when she heard that, suddenly she started telling them, take me to walk in the aisles. I want to start walking. In 2 days, they looked at her in a miracle. Said, you can go home, even though she was very, very ill. Her will to live and enjoy the family she created was impossible. Sometimes when someone told me they didn't feel well, I felt like the ache to tell them, come, let me show you my mom. See, how are you going to complain about that, not feeling well and not being able to do something? Over the years, Mom was blessed with her grandchildren and grandchildren. She wasn't just Yonah's mom, Robert's, Ruthie's, and mine. Like the rabbi mentioned, Ima Natela. She was the mother of everyone. Even the friends of our grandchildren would come in. They would call her Ima Natela. So she was the mother of all. Sorry. Mama Natela loved being proud of her grandchildren as well. She loved every one of you, even though sometimes everybody was kind of doing their thing, and I had enough time spending with her in the last few years, taking her, nurturing her. I asked my mom a question when we were one-on-one, and this is something that I'd never probably mentioned to anyone. And I asked her, Mom, that now I can ask you, you were widowed so young, why you didn't get married? It was very typical to Mom, and she said, my son, one man I loved in my life, and he gave me beautiful kids. I could not allow myself to have someone else raise the kids that he gave me. Therefore, I did not get married, and I didn't want to get married. So, in closing, I honor to recite. There's a little thing I wanted to say something before that, if you guys don't mind. Her love for sewing was just one of the parts of her life, but the joy from seeing us coming to Shabbat dinner was above that. She would make sure everybody will eat enough that we were blowing and we could not breathe anymore. We were walking, and she still was going to the kitchen, coming back, and everybody's okay. I wouldn't lie, but I did really like the food and going there for that. But the main thing that I was going for my mom, when I could, was reading her Eshet Chayil every Friday night. I love the fact that her eyes will sparkle and smile comes on her face. So that's what I'm going to do now, Mom. I'm going to read you Eshet Chayil, because I do believe that every word in Eshet Chayil was written for you. אשת חיל מאמצע ורחוק מתנים מכרע, בטח בא לב בעלה בשלה לא יחסר, גימלתהו טוב ולא רע כל ימי חייה. דרשה צמר ופשתים בתעש בחפץ כפיה, הייתה כאוניות סוחר, ממרחק תביא לחמה. ותקום בעוד לילה ותיתן טרף לביתה בחוק לנערותיה, זממה שדה ותיקחהו מפרי כפיה נטעה כרם. חגרה בעוז מותניה, בתאמת זרועותיה. טעמה כי טוב שכרה, לא יכבה בלילה נרה. ידיה שלחה בקישור, וכפיה תמכו פלך. כפה פרסה לעני, וידיה שלחה לאביון, לא תירה לביתה משלג, ככל ביתה לבוש שנים. מרבדים עשתה לה, שישווה ארגמן לבושה. נודע בשערים בעלה, בשבטו עם זקני הארץ. סדין עשתה בתמכור, וחגור נתנה לכנעני. עוז והדר לבושה, ותשחק ליום אחרון, פיה פתחה בחוכמה, בתורת חסד על לשונה. צופה הליכות ביתה, ולחם עצלות לא תאכל. קמו בניה ואשרוה, בעלה והאללה, רבות בנות עשו חיל, ואת עלית על כולנה. נטו, תודה רבה. על כל מה שעשית למעני, למען הילדים, נכדים, הנינים. וכל מי שהכיר אותך ידע שאת אישיות מייחדת. יהי שלום, אמא.
Try to keep this short. I'll try not to break down. So if I do, I'm sorry. Ima Natela, which was what I called her, ever since I can recall having a memory. Was an amazing woman, amazing wife, mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother. My parents had me at a very young age, and they both worked very hard. So for a long portion of my childhood, I grew up in her house, which is why I called her Ima Natela. I was her superstar. I was her first grandchild. I can never, ever do wrong in her eyes, even though I was the biggest troublemaker. She was born in the Republic of Georgia during World War II, which wasn't such an easy time in history, not for us or anybody. She was so beautiful in every way. I heard stories that the men used to beat the crap out of each other just to impress her. She ended up marrying my grandfather, Yosef, and was unfortunately widowed at such a young age, with 4 kids to take care of. She moved to Israel and worked out of her house as a seamstress. And I remember that tiny little room where she would have people come over from all over the country. And she'd make incredible wedding gowns, dresses, suits, alterations. She worked tirelessly every single day. She was famous. Everyone who knew her loved her. She was talented, and I always felt so honored to be in her presence because of that. I remember she would sit me down in her lap while she was working the sewing machine. She was never too busy to pay attention to all my needs. As I got older, I began to realize that it wasn't only me that she was so attentive to. It was everybody. Every single person. Her family, her friends, even random people from the community. She was amazing. And everyone who knew her knew that about her. She helped raise me, my little brothers, and every single grandchild, all my cousins here, and even the great-grandchildren. She had an amazing heart, full of generosity and love. She built empires and a legacy out of that little room with her sewing machine over there. She lived till the age of 80. In Sefer Tehillim, in the book of Psalms, it says, "The days of our years, among them are 70 years, and with strength, 80 years." Ima Natela lived those 80 years on this earth with might. With might, she fought the entire time she was here. Despite every obstacle, despite every challenge she faced, nothing could beat her. We're on our way right now, and we're preparing ourselves for the holiday of Sukkot and Simchat Torah. We're going to finish the book of Devarim, and then we're going to start again with the book of Bereshit. This reminds us that our life cycle is not linear. It's circular. Our Torah isn't a book of stories, a book of laws. It's an instruction manual on how to conduct our day-to-day life and how to act with kindness towards each other. If there are only a few things that I will remember about the many amazing character traits and all the amazing midot that Ima Natela had, it would be that love conquers every emotion, and that if we are good to each other and stay united, then nothing will ever break us. I want to thank Rabbi Wolf, Rabbi Menachem, Rabbi Hamawi for helping our family spiritually during this difficult time. Also, thank you to Suli, Ima Natela's caretaker, my amazing mother, my amazing uncles, my aunts, for being there around the clock for her, taking care of all her needs. My wife, my incredible brothers, my incredible sisters-in-law, my precious cousins, and all my nephews and nieces, fulfilling her last days with so much joy. And to everyone for being here today and showing respect for our Ima Natela. Ima Natela, I want to ask you for forgiveness if I ever wronged you, which I'm sure I have. Especially that one time when I was 4 and I peed all over the barbecue food. We love you so much, and you'll be in our hearts forever.
Ima Natela, the name Cookie, or her first and eldest grandson, Yas affectionately named her, is and will forever be the matriarch of our family. Widowed at just 25 years old, Ima Natela was left with 4 small children, my father, Uncle Robert, Aunt Ruti, and baby Gabi. Despite adversity, grief, and unimaginable and difficult choices she had to make as such a young woman, she worked harder than most, overcame some of life's greatest challenges, and always put her best foot forward. And her best foot forward surpassed most people's by miles. Ima Natela embodied courage and resilience. And she was loved and admired by all who knew her, and even those that just met her once. Her genuine warmth just oozed from her heart, and everybody felt that. Her sense of pride was a trademark of her character. Even until her last day, she was so proud of her heritage, her religion, and above all, she was so proud of her family. But dedication and determination, those powerful attributes, drove her every day. She dedicated her life to her family, like many of us do. But her dedication was just unmatched. More on that soon. She dedicated countless hours to her long list of clients for whom she'd sewn at least 1,000 wedding dresses over the years, not to mention all the other hundreds and hundreds of high fashion designs. She cared for and was dedicated to her community. From Or Yehuda to Tel Aviv, everyone knew Natela HaToferet, and if you wanted a custom piece, you had to get in line. She was unwaveringly committed to her faith and Jewish tradition that we will continue to uphold in her memory. We will pass it on the dor vador, from generation to generation. Ima Natela's touch will be present in all we do to celebrate Shabbatot and Chagim. And later in life, she was determined to give her mother, our Bebia, the best possible care, the care only she could give with her own 2 hands. Like Gabi mentioned, 5 straight years. So she dedicated her life to do just that for her mom until Baby Maro's last day. Ima Natela and I were very close. I was her first granddaughter and always felt we had a special bond. She understood me, and she would always check me when I needed exactly that. Sirtzhuili gogo, she would say. When my contractions began with Ariel, my firstborn, she, and Zor, quickly grabbed the first flight out of Chicago to be there in time for her birth. And of course, she made it in time. And from that moment on, and for nearly 2 months to follow, Ima Natela was by my side, teaching me most everything about how to care for a newborn. Wash her tushy after every poop. Dry her tov, 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 baby. Drink lots of soups and teas. How to whip up fresh soup and later quickly prepare fresh veggies without making it a big deal. Excuse me. That part was very important to her. To convey to me and to all of her grandchildren that even something that seemed to require all of my energy, all of your effort, it was really no big deal. Ma big deal, baby. Ima Natela could make something out of nothing. I remember one time all I had was garlic. I didn't have any fresh veggies. She made soup out of garlic and 1 egg, and it was divine. But she'd known how to care for newborns and small children better than anyone. Between her 4 children, 11 grandchildren, and 10 great-grandchildren, she had a direct hand in raising, helping to raise, advising, or simply caring for 25 human beings. And that was before we even talk about spouses, family friends who became family, neighbors, and beyond. Ima Natela is a legend. She will always be remembered for her pure, unconditional love for her family, her extraordinary artistry, the most talented, detail-oriented seamstress, and always in high demand in her prime until her collections became exclusive to her family, and the most exquisite chef and baker. Her food tasted just as it was made, fresh, full of flavor, and overflowing with love. Khachapuri, branzino, fresh lavashi, chalia, shachamadi, the list goes on and on and on. But one of the most beautiful things about Ima Natela was that feeling she gave me. That feeling I know she gave to every grandchild and great-grandchild she sadly leaves behind. It's an almost indescribable feeling of being cared for in a way only she knew how. We always ate on her fine china. She never had paper plates. We never left her home hungry, very full in fact, and always with to-go containers for others who couldn't be there to taste that magic that was her food. Each one of us has a special connection with her and to her that I know can never be broken. And many of us, though I know it will be all of us, have already began making pacts with each other that we will continue to honor her memory together, because that was the most important to her, for all of us to be close, there for each other, and together in life. If there's anything I want you to remember about Ima Natela, it is her generosity. It is how she treated people. Any guest was always treated like a member of our family. She'd roll out the red carpet for anyone and everyone who walked through her door, or the door of any of her offspring for that matter. The way she spoke to her nurses, who were constantly in and out, poking and prodding those hospital rooms like a revolving door. They didn't have names. They were all her love girls. Thank you, love girl. She tried to always teach me not to sweat the small stuff, even though sometimes she did, because she cared so much. She taught me, Nugeshinia, don't be afraid. She loved the finer things in life, but she was content with what she had always. She taught me life is precious and that we must enjoy it. Through each and every one of us here, family and friends who are family, Ima Natela's legacy will live on for generations to come. Her powerful life lessons, unmatched recipes, and zest for family will guide me in everything I do from this day forward. We must honor her incredible spirit in how we choose to live our lives every day. With care, with respect, with faith. And remember, Nu Geshinia, don't be afraid. Have courage and live life to the fullest. To know her is to love her. Our special baby, forever in our hearts and in our neshamot. Rest easy, Natela. Now, hopefully with Bebia, Babu Anzor, your baby Maya, and family who came before us. We will never forget you, and we will always remember you. Thank you. It's really hard to put into words how much my baby Natela meant to me and to my family. But I'll do my best. Yesterday afternoon, my dad and I spoke of a very, very important concept that Rabbi Menachem mentioned, Hemshechiyut. Comes from the Jewish value of ledor v'dor, from generation to generation. My baby Natela is part of an ongoing legacy. Her life is woven into the history of our family and a very, very strong link in our chain that can never be broken. Each one of us sitting here, whether you're in the front row or all the way in the back, shares a link with hers. She made it a priority to connect us to those before her through her stories, traditions, laughter, jokes. And I'm sure every person in this room can share a story, an interaction, a memory. And if you were lucky enough, like I was, 2 prom dresses and countless designs. We're all bound by the role she played in our family's story. Her life is part of such a larger journey beyond anything that could be said in this room and will remain within us for our family heritage. May we continue to remember her as part of our enduring legacy, ledor v'dor. And every accomplishment that I'll ever make, or every happiness moment that I'll have in my life, I'll just remember her saying, Kapara Savta. It means so much to me and my entire family that you all are here.
We have with us Rabbi Shaul Amawi, Rabbi Yochanan Posner, and also Rabbi Aaron Wolf, who is very, very close to the family for over 30 years or 40 years, but he's unable to speak, is not feeling well. He lost his voice. What we learned here, and Ima, את רואה איזה כבוד כמו מלכה, כיבדו אותך הילדים והנכדים, לנצח תהי חרוטה בליבנו, ותמשיכי לחיות עם הילדים והנכדים והנינים, עד ביד גואל צדק במהרה. We now in the days before Yom Kippur and Sukkot, which we don't say Tachanun, so we don't say the El Maleh Rachamim. So we'll conclude with the Perek Tehillim. שיר למעלות, אשא עיניי אל ההרים, מאין יבוא עזרי. עזרי מעם אדוני, עושה שמיים וארץ. אל ייתן למות רגליך, אל ינום שומרך. הנה לא ינום ולא יישן, שומר ישראל. אדוני שומרך, אדוני צילך, על יד ימינך. יומם השמש לא יככה וירח בלילה. אדוני ישמורך מכל רע, ישמור את נפשך. אדוני ישמור צאתך ובואך מעתה ועד עולם.
la lilo dam di li 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 lilo la 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 lilo dam da 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 lilo dam di 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 lilo la 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 lilo dam la 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 lilo
בלילות אני לא ישן כבר שבועות, רק מתהפך מצד לצד ומפחד שיום אחד אני אקום ואת כבר לא תהיי
לחם שלנו,
לחם של מתן.
אשאל לי מישהו רע לאן הלכה האהבה, אם תרצי אני אתן לך מנגינה שתנגן לך את הכל, אני אתן לך את הכל, אני נשבע לך עם יד על הלב, הפעם זה על באמת, מן הקצה אל הקצה, אני חדש, אני רוצה ממש, אם תרצי אני אתן לך מנגינה שתנגן לך את הכל, אני אתן לך את הכל,
ბიჭია თემური ხო დილით ჩემზე უფროსები არიან ხო რობერტია ჩემი ტოლი კლასელი იყო ჩემი She was in the class with Robert. და სამიხატა ძალიან რამდენი
La 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 that's you אני לא עוזב אותך אף פעם גם אם נדמה שאין אותי לנצח את אהובתי לנצח את אהובתי אהובתי מי לצידי הולכת לאורך המסע עם כל חלום, עם כל מבט אמא מי את כולי עוטפת בחום שלא נגמר באהבה בדאגה רק תחבקיני ותרימי יקרה לי מכולם אל תשתני לי אל תלכי לי לעולם לעולם את הדרך את יודעת אל הלב שאין לו סוד בנפשי ידך נוגעת ועוטפת את הכל ומי את כולה נותנת בלי צל של חרטה בנשמתה אליי קרובה אמא יקרה
אמא עם המשקפיים
אף פעם לא נשברת אף פעם לא טועה את הדמעה שלי מוחה אמא רק תחבקיני ותראיני יקרה לי מכולם אל תשתני לי אל תלכי לי לעולם לעולם את הדרך את יודעת אל הלב שאין לו סוד בנפשי ידך נוגעת ואוספת את הכל
שני כפרי אמא, איזה ממורי יש לך חיים שלי. אני אף פעם לא ימות, כפרה דדה. עם הילדים כאלה ונכדים כאלה, אני אחיה לכל החיים. Love you שמדגן עצולה עם ג'אנש. Love you too חיים שלי. כשאתם תחיו עד 120, איזה תמונות יפות, אני עדיין לא ראיתי את זה. נשמה שלי,
This concludes the funeral here in the chapel. The interment will take place at Memorial Park Cemetery here in Skokie. We ask for those that are going to the cemetery, we'll be lining up in our parking lot. We ask that you have your headlights and hazard lights on while in procession and drive as close as safety permits to the vehicle in front of you. At the conclusion of the interment and tomorrow, the family will be at the Chabad Israeli Center, 8750 Keeler Avenue, where they'll be there till 8 p.m. tonight, and then from 7 a.m. for Shacharit until 12 p.m., where they'll have a mincha, and then the shiva will be over. If we can have all the grandchildren rise and act as pallbearers, and we'll have everybody else stand up as we escort the deceased from the chapel. And once we've left the chapel, we ask everybody to go immediately to their vehicles. If we can have the pallbearers come forward.